Welcome back. I'm sorry I missed last weekend, and the weekend before that there was no KMiata work, but we are back with fab work and really the last fab project on the K-Swap. So before I get into today's project, I wanted to say a big thank you to all of you guys that ordered NA K-Swap intakes. I just got these back from the powder coater today. This is wrinkle black, all pie cuts. It's got a provision for idle air control, and then this hole here is going to be for the IAT sensor. I've got rubber grommets that go in there, and here is what it looks like in the car. So it's everything: clamps, silicone coupler, filter, this guy all powder coated. If any of you want one, let me know. Just hit me up either on my personal Instagram or Napp Motorsports Instagram, which I'll put both of them down below. The cost is $250 shipped, and that's for everything. That's powder coated, welded, the filter, the clamps, the coupler, hours of my time cutting pie cuts. And this is a solution I wish I had last year. If you guys are following along, when we started this, there was no good intake set up for the K-Swap. So this answers that. I've had 7 of you guys buy them, which is astounding to me. And I've got a couple more to start making. So big thank you to that. It's awesome. This kind of support helps us build things like the track car that we're going to start building up soon. So really appreciate it, but let's get into what you guys are really here for. So I've been waiting a little bit for my slave cylinder to show up for the Miata. It still hasn't shown up, but I am done waiting. I need it because I had to put my transmission in order to mount my exhaust up and build my downpipe. It tips the motor back, it holds everything in the right place, and the crossover tube actually bolts up to the transmission, so it's kind of key that everything is here. To overcome that, yesterday I just threw the transmission in without the slave cylinder in it. For you guys that aren't familiar with the K-Series swaps, the slave cylinder is now inside the transmission, so I'll have to take it out again once that shows up. But that being said, transmission is in, exhaust is bolted up, turbo is on, which means we're gonna start building the downpipe. So I made this way back, 2 months ago when I was figuring out how to weld. It's definitely not the prettiest spot welds, but there is the mating side down there, which is a V-band and 1 pie cut on it. This is a pie cut 90. And we need to connect the two. So off camera, because I didn't need you guys to see me struggling with pie cuts and whatnot, I did buy, I know aluminum, I've cut them on my bandsaw and stuff like that, but this bandsaw is not going to hold up to a lot of aluminum or stainless cutting. So I bought pre-cut pie cuts, and let me tell you, it's so much better than cutting them, but it's a lot more expensive. So what I have fabbed up, or taped up at this point, is the next section. So we're gonna take, let's see if I can slide it in here. So my fear is this electrical wire is not gonna be here, but the brake lines are very close to where this is. It's all gonna get ceramic coated, but we're gonna slide this guy in here. And then it's pie cut back, and yes, I understand it is less efficient than a straight 90, but it's pie cut back to get it away from all this. Ooh, that's tight. Obviously it won't be this hard because we'll take the entire downpipe off, but it's pie cut to come back towards the turbo, and then it angles back, so you can kind of imagine it like this off of that 90 that's on there right now. And that just kicks it far enough away, and I've been using that aluminum piece as a test fit for the length in between. So we're gonna go ahead and tack this guy up, and then we will tack this. I have it all marked, so you can see here's a 0. And then here, everything is marked to itself. That way I know if I like drop it or something and all this tape comes off, I know where everything goes. I'm gonna weld it with the tape off it so I don't melt anything. But we're gonna tack all this together, tack it on the downpipe, the existing part right off the turbo, and then we'll fit it up and we'll work on the last in-between piece. And we're gonna get it all tacked up, and we're gonna make it a little bit longer than it has to be. There's a couple reasons for that. There's play in the flex pipe, and when you weld all this together, it's going to shrink. and I'd rather not have to cut it and put another filler piece in between it, because that's a lot of work and it's really unnecessary. So this part's easy. The final joining piece is going to be hard, but let's get to it. Let's start tagging this. I haven't done stainless in 2 months, so I'm actually going to take some of my sample pieces before you guys see. I'm going to take some sample pieces, set my torch up, and just play with a little bit of aluminum, or play with a little bit of stainless, get back in the rhythm of it, switch over filler rod. I got the Furic cups and everything, so I'll pick you guys up once I'm back in the rhythm of knowing what I'm doing, and we'll tack this guy together. Well, I forgot how much I love stainless. It's so much easier than aluminum. I picked it up, it's probably extremely hot, but I picked it up, did like 3 little short passes and 2 tacks, and I'd say that's good enough to get started. So, yeah, it's like cheating compared to aluminum. I mean, aluminum is, I'm no perfectionist at it, but now after doing it for 6 weeks straight, it's really doesn't seem that hard to me, and I was worried about stepping back into stainless, and it was a breeze. So I'm gonna start tagging that guy together. Love-hate with stainless because I'm using this huge cup, and I'm gonna have to back purge the whole system, so I'm gonna probably blow through my tank of argon this weekend. I wouldn't be surprised. So I'm gonna set you guys up, and you guys can watch me tack this thing together. We'll do some test fits, tack, test fit, tack, all sorts of blah, and then we'll get to, you know, hopefully by the end of this episode, welding the whole thing together, unless I totally mess up. Got it all tacked up. I'm probably gonna have a blister on my finger later because I was spinning it around to get some other tacks in place, and I put my pointer finger right on a tack weld that I just did and held it there. And with the gloves, you don't feel it for a minute until the gloves get hot, and then by the time you realize, they just keep getting hotter. So the glove was smoking right on my fingertip, and my finger kind of hurts right now. So that's probably gonna blister up. But here's the piece. So it's gonna come off the, where's one? It'll come off the existing piece of the downpipe like this, like we showed earlier. And then I have a piece that I cut, that aluminum piece that's down there. I put 2 4.5 degree cuts on it, and it looks like it's perfect. So I'm gonna show you guys kind of where this is gonna go, and we'll tack this to the existing downpipe. And then we'll only really have, man, I need like 4 hands. We'll only have like 1 piece left to tack in between the 2. So this guy, gonna go right around here. I'll get the clocking right off camera. I need both hands for it, but it'll go like this. The downpipe will kind of curve out and back in, and then it'll go down to connect to the V-band down there. So I'm gonna mark this once I measure it up with the other pipe, and then I'll see you guys on the welding table to tack it up. All right, I've got it back in there. It's test fit. I've cut some aluminum up as a test mock-up piece. So here's the part we just did, which looks pretty good in my opinion. There's plenty of room around this stuff. And I did clock it a little bit, you know, this way away from all the wiring over here. And then down here, just with painter's tape, I have 2 pieces tossed on here that are pretty much exactly what I need. So I'm gonna pop that out, and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. This is the tricky part because you're not just building off into space. You now need to connect it to another spot, and you have to be spot on. And I also need to allow for some room of like adjustment in the whole system. So I gotta play around with it. So I have a lot of stainless. I don't want to cut a lot of stainless because I don't think the bandsaw is gonna hold up to it. So I'll take this off. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about, and then I'm gonna probably put you down while I cut a bunch of stainless and figure out the right piece. Because I won't be happy until it fits right. Here it is. That's how it sits on the car. So you can see it has some kind of back cant to get over to where it's going to meet down here. These are 2 pieces of aluminum. One's a pie cut, one is a regular piece with an 8-degree cut on one side. So what I'm going to do is probably cut that piece with the 8-degree angle on one side. The piece of stainless I'm pointing at, you can't see it. I'll cut it with the 8-degree angle on one side, maybe 9, because I can then pull the rest of the exhaust system up, and then that way it has play both ways. So I'll probably start with 9 degrees, and then I will slowly work my way down to meet the other side, which I'm kind of nervous about. It's not as easy to play with as aluminum, so yeah, and I don't want to make like 1,000 pie cuts where I could use straight. We've been down that road. We don't want to do that again. So yeah, I'll pick you guys back up once I make some progress. Don't ask me how. My methods were not great, but I got it on the first cut. I tried to copy the other pipe as well as I could. I left some margins here and there. It's a tight fit, which is kind of what I want, because as you weld it, it's going to shrink up a little bit. I'm going to do some looking real quick on how much it's going to shrink, because if it's like, you know, a 1/16 of an inch, then I will be on the money. So I'll show you guys what I got. It's just literally press fit in there right now between the downpipe and the, I guess we'll call it the up pipe or the crossover tube. So, yeah. This guy right here. And from the wheel well, maybe you can see it. Where's my hand? So here's where it comes down, meets the pie cut that I have in here, and then goes into the V-band down there. So I got it to fit, and it actually lines up pretty good. This is a little sloped here, but down there it hooks up. Everything's good. So we are all set. You probably can't see that. I am gonna start finish welding it, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start on this back side, so as it shrinks, it tips it back a little bit. And my plan is I'm gonna leave this weld for last, and if I have to, I can cut all these spot welds and reposition it inside of this V-band, which is probably gonna be the easiest way. I do have another V-band, actually. I have a spare EFR V-band chilling right here, just in case, you know, you never know. So I might end up having to use this. Not the end of the world. These are nice because they have a lip, so aligning the pieces inside of it is really easy, and it does allow for some weeble wobble. So yeah, I'm gonna start. The thing with stainless that I have to teach myself is slow and steady. It's not like aluminum where you can buzz through, you know, walk away for a couple minutes, come back, buzz through again. If you get stainless too hot, it looks like garbage. So I'm gonna try and go as slow as possible. I want to get some like nice pretty welds like I did on the test piece. I have had a lot of practice welding, not welding stainless, but welding itself. So let's take this guy out of here. So we'll see how it does. I'll clean it up and I'll put you guys on the tripod and start buzzing away. So I got it all fully welded up, and like I guessed, it shrunk, but it shrunk by more than I thought it would. So I'll show you guys kind of what it looks like. Well, I guess exactly what it looks like. So it's still super hot right now, but everything is welded up down until this flange right here. And then, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Let me get my phone light on it. Since it shrunk, let's see, where are we? The fit is off by probably 1/4 inch. So it's almost 11 o'clock at night, and this bandsaw doesn't do anything for stainless. So I bought a Milwaukee Portaband like an hour ago, and I'm gonna pick it up at Home Depot tomorrow, and we're gonna make some cuts, put some pieces in, and try and fill the gap tomorrow. It'll be fine because it's gonna be in that lower section. It's just gonna need to be manipulated a little bit, maybe like a pie cut this way and a pie cut that way, just to get it to kick over enough. I'm not sure, but I got plenty of stainless. I still got like 3.5 feet probably, and the Portaband will cut stainless. I've seen it cut stainless. I bought the right blade for it to cut stainless, so it'll just be a little bit of a process, but luckily I'm only gonna have to figure out a short distance, and I'll have to figure out how much the short distance is gonna shrink instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 couplers. 13 butt welds ends up being a lot of shrinkage to kind of account for. So I don't know. It does kind of suck that it's off a little bit, but there was no way I was going to get it perfect on the first try, especially because I've never done something like this before. Next time I'll know a little better. I'll still probably get it wrong for a couple times, but you know, we'll get there. I got no doubt. So, I mean, 90% of the welding's done, so tomorrow's just gonna be some cutting and measuring and probably being really annoyed at some things, but I'll pick you guys up then. Probably, yeah, sometime during that process I'll pick you guys up and I'll show you what's going on in my head. But I am pleased with how far away from all the electronics it's going to sit, the way it curves back towards the front. It's perfect. It slides right into position, so it's not like it's like a tight fit to get the downpipe in. Yeah, and it looks cool with the rainbow welds, even though it's going to be ceramic coated and heat wrapped, just for safety of everything. So whatever, I'll know I did a good job. So I'll pick you guys up tomorrow. So I had an epiphany after the last time I talked to you guys, which was now 2 days ago. It's Sunday. I crawled under the car because I knew when I put the crossover pipe up, there was some adjustment room in the, where the crossover pipe sat, but it was still pretty snug. And I remember a year ago when I put the 5-speed in, they said if you had a 6-speed, you had to grind this little notch down in order for the crossover tube to have room to move. So I looked at it, and I think if I grind it down, which I haven't done it yet, I think if I grind that down, I will be able to fit the crossover tube up without any more modification or adding material to the downpipe or anything. So we're going to do that now. I've got my little angle grinder sitting down there. You guys are on a mini tripod. I'm going to take you down there, and you're going to watch me make an absolute mess of myself. So as you see, I shaved all this down. I probably went a little farther than I had to, but I didn't want any reason. So this used to come out at the same level as this. So it was out to like right around here. So I should have that much more up, and now I should be able to also shimmy it forward a little bit, which is exactly what I need. While I'm down here, the exhaust hits right around here. So I'm just gonna take the cutoff wheel and just slice pretty much right through up to this spot right here. Straight and cut it and smooth it out. That way there's no reason for it to bump and rattle as I'm driving around. It's back in and it all fits perfectly. I am so relieved that I don't have to cut everything. Let me show you. I'll show you this first, but Bolted up here. This is loose. Pro tip, always leave your V-bands loose for checkups and then, you know, tighten them down once everything fits. The other V-band is down there, which you guys, it's always dark in here, but you can see there the V-band is on and together. There it is. And it's not like I had to like pull it into position. There's some play in the whole assembly, so I just kind of like lifted it up a little bit. But it could go farther up, it can go down, it can go left, and it can go right. So really, it's very central to where it needs to be, which is sweet, because that means, you know, under load, as the motor's tipping and tilting, it's not going to put stress on other parts of the system. So I'm going to take that out. There's 2 more welds on the bottom I got to finish up. If it shrinks a little bit, that's okay. There is room. So it shouldn't shrink nearly as bad as it did the first time, so I'm not worried about it. I was ready. I bought this guy yesterday. Oh, it's a big chungus. This is the Milwaukee Portaband. If any of you guys watch Taylor Ray, you've seen his bandsaw setup. That's what this is. I bought the same table he's got. I've been eyeing that thing forever. This will eat stainless steel. This will not. So I'm keeping this set up for now until the swag off-road table shows up. Because this is good for aluminum, which I'm probably gonna make another couple intakes this week, so I'll have to use that for aluminum. But yeah, this will be replacing this guy, and this will probably end up in my basement unless anybody wants it. But super stoked on that. Pretty expensive for, you know, a bandsaw, but you know, if you have the right tools, it's not that hard to do the job. So this is the right tool. I'm gonna pop that out, and I'll set you guys up, and let's weld the last piece of it together. And hopefully not kill my tank of gas. I only have 500 PSI left in the Argon tank, and it's Sunday, so should have enough to finish this. It's only 2 welds, but let's get to it. It's all done. I'm gonna hit you with some cinematic shots while I talk, but it is all fully welded up, top and bottom. There is good penetration on the inside, thanks to the argon back purge. There's not a whole lot of sugaring, and I'm really proud of it. So this came out sweet. Let's throw it on the car, make sure everything fits. We'll clamp it together, and then this stuff will really be ready to go get powder coated. I'll pick you guys up when this is bolted on the car, or I'll show the process of me bolting on the car, and then I'll pick you guys back up. The top's really easy, obviously, to put together. The bottom, with where that clamp is and was on the original downpipe, it's kind of a tight spot, but you can actually access it pretty well from down in the fender well, so that's how I've been finishing putting it on. You know, you line it up top, get it underneath, and the nice thing about the V-band I have down there is it's a quick release, so it's actually really easy to snap together. But I'm very stoked to have all V-bands on the whole, really everything, especially on the exhaust. That flange down there used to be this 2-bolt flange. This is the old header, or I guess, yeah, header. So that's the old 2-bolt flange. This thing blew apart on me twice. If you guys watched the track day episode, you saw that that caused me some issues there. And then once just driving around on the expressway, I noticed the car got really loud. That's not a thing with V-bands because of the way they clamp. They have a locking screw in them. They don't come apart. So even if they come loose, you have an exhaust leak, but it's just retightening a bolt. There's no gaskets to deal with and no nothing. It's so much better. And they look cooler. Everybody loves V-bands, so really stoked on how this turned out. I'm going to be taking all of this stuff off because I have to take the transmission out again. And I'm going to get it all ceramic coated, and then I'm going to wrap it in some probably black header wrap. This is getting ceramic coated. This is getting ceramic coated. The turbo manifold down there will get coated. And now the more I think about it, I'm probably going to coat the crossover pipe. I'm only going to be wrapping the downpipe part of the crossover pipe just until it starts to oval out. And then the turbo hot side will get a turbo blanket, and then there's nothing I can do to the manifold because it's so small. But being so small, it shouldn't really have a huge heat affected zone. So my main concern here is obviously the oil feed lines and everything, water lines that are right here. And then this wire won't be here. It'll be back over behind all this stuff. I'm gonna run it probably behind these brake lines here. So that'll all be out of the way. But there's still 2 brake lines right here, and there's still some electronics, you know, fairly close to where this is gonna be. So I'm trying to build a reliable, cheap, fast, reliable. Pick 2. I'm trying to build a reliable, fast street car. You can't do that by cutting corners on things like heat management, because you're going to be on the side of the road watching your very expensive pile of parts burn to the ground. And that's like a big fear of mine, is that I'm going to lose this entire project one day just because of a mistake that I made. So I'm trying to cover all my bases now, do it once, do it right. Costs you a little more in the beginning, but it's worth it in the end. So that is going to be a wrap for this episode. Thank you guys for watching big time. You guys thought we were done. So did I. But I had an epiphany today while I was sitting at my desk working, and I realized I forgot spots for O2 bungs. So I have since drilled 2 holes in my nice downpipe, and I have these weld-on bungs. They are stainless steel. They have a curve in them already. I don't know if you can see that. They have a curve in them. So they made up to the pipe. So one's gonna go there, and one will go there. And it'll kind of put them, you know, right around here, sticking out this way, and that way I can keep my existing O2 sensor wiring locations, and I'll just feed the second one, which is the gauge one, into the engine bay. There are 2 spots on that crossover pipe underneath that are like kind of right under the driver's seat. Those would work. I just want options. I'm not sure where Rick is gonna say is best. I'm gonna weld these on, that way I have the option. They might be too close to the turbo, and it might be bad for the O2 sensor. Obviously guys with hood dumps like Brian, they run them even closer than that, but it does shorten the lifespan of the O2 sensor. So I'm gonna have options. I'll have 4 ports. I have 2 sensors, so I can put them wherever. But we're gonna quickly weld these on. My plan is to get this off to ceramic coating at the end of the week. It is Monday right now, and I gotta build my coolant setup, which is gonna be next episode for you guys, and I gotta build an intake and a catch can this week, and I want to drop it all off at once on Friday. So I got a busy week of welding as usual ahead of me. But yeah, let's buzz these on and we can get this out of the way. There it is. These are probably some of the prettiest welds I think I've ever done. Let's see if we can get you a close-up shot there. Nice, continuous, steady bead around the whole thing. My issue with like mostly on aluminum, it's a little harder, is consistency of like when you put the dab in, you got to feed a certain amount of filler every time, or otherwise the puddle's too big or small. Stainless it seems a bit easier on. I don't know if it's because it's probably because stainless welds slower. At least the temperature that I weld aluminum at is faster. So you have more time to like think about what you're doing, and you can feed it and you can watch it. So I like aluminum because it's faster. I like stainless because it's easier. So I love welding both of them. Like if somebody brings me either thing to work on, I'm not, you know, upset about it. I'm not like, oh, you know, I wish this was a stainless or I wish this was aluminum. To me, they're equally awesome, which I am relieved about. I was worried about having to weld aluminum, but this came out sick. I'm gonna kind of set it in so you can see where it's gonna go. So you can see the 2 ports are gonna be right there. They'll feed out into this open area, which is where, you can't see it here, but my entire wiring harness is gonna sit right in that area. So this is now ready for ceramic coating. So I'm gonna leave this out of the car. And then, well, I'll probably end up putting it back in to build the coolant setup, so I know I have room. But on that note, that is the end of this episode for real this time. You guys know the deal. Hit that like button if you like what you saw. Leave a comment down below if you liked it or you didn't like it, or what kind of stuff you want to see on the channel. It's coming to the end of this build for me. Once the stuff gets coated and back together, the car is going to be running, and then it's back into kind of spring summer for us. We'll have a dyno session for probably each car, but up next is going to be Dylan's car. He's going to bring it here or maybe somewhere else, depending on we got some things. We're working on some things that could be really big for us, which would open up a lot of opportunities, but that's all I'm going to say. So his car may be coming here, his car may be going there, depending on when and how and what. But that's going to be the next big thing, is pulling his motor, doing his turbo stuff, and throwing his motor back in. Hopefully it's a week or so of work for us, but yeah, after that, let us know what you guys want to see. Do you want to see more reviews? Do you want to see more how-to type videos? Let me know. What kind of welding work do you want to see? Whatever. But leave a comment. Let me know. I love to hear it. I love to read it. But yeah, and then lastly, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I ask you about it every time. If you're here and you're not subscribed, why not? Join for the fun. We're going to make 400 horsepower in a couple weeks here. So, yeah. See you guys next Saturday.